You're listening to the best of ITW, brought to you by Pop Guide and WikiLeaf.
The new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
On this episode, ITW welcomes tattoo artist, graffiti writer, and musician, Opie Ortiz of the Long Beach Dub Allstars.
Oh, yeah. We have had one guest on at least twice, and that's Opie Ortiz.
Oh, yeah, he's the best. I love Opie. Actually, he's come up a lot lately. I talk to Opie still all the time, and he's fucking awesome. He's the fucking raddest dude ever. Actually, the Long Beach Dub All-Stars was the last show I saw before the lockdown.
Wow. Actually, I think that was one of the last shows we saw before the lockdown, too. Young Carter went and shot those guys. You did a video with them, didn't you?
They're the best.
Yeah. You're allowed to talk from back there if you want.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yep.
Yeah. He's great, and we've been. I got to hit him up because we actually had a cool, crazy idea that we wanted to.
Yeah, we'll figure something out with that. I was thinking of that how we would do that last night. When I couldn't sleep. I got a pretty good idea.
Yeah, his story is amazing. From the beginning is just, jamming with his friends, and making cool art, to fucking having a huge art career and music career, and surviving really fucking hard times, from losing your fucking best homie to bouncing back from that with love and tribute to your homie you lost, and carrying on the music, to going to prison
in Japan,
for marijuana, to surviving that and getting out and getting reunited with your family who you thought you might not see for 10 years.
That was longer. He didn't know.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting one, because this one he wanted to come on because he called you up and said, I want to come on your podcast again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he was like, he came on the first time in Venice when we were all in Venice, and hopefully we'll put those ones out again too at some point, which was awesome, and we got to hear that story. But then he's
amazing.
Like, I want to tell you about Japan.
Yeah.
And then he came and he told us about Japan, and thank you for hosting. We did that at Program, your spot.
Yeah.
Shout out again. We made sure to tag it at the end of the episode, but thanks again for doing that, because there was really cool looking episodes on the revisit.
Kind of a different vibe.
But he told us at the show in Toronto when he was there with the Agrolites that because of our clip that we put out, what's it called? TMZ hit him up. And so TMZ asked if he would come on TMZ and tell him the story. And he's like, nah, I just do that for my homies.
What?
Yeah.
Because of our episode?
Because of our
you never
episode.
told me that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that cool? He's like, like that. He's like, I told that story to those dudes. But that was really neat.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And he was, when we saw him in Toronto, like, it was just like nothing. He's like, yo, what up? And it was just like, he's also a pretty big guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like in personality. And he's
a big dude.
Yeah.
He's just a good dude, man.
Yeah.
And just kind, caring guy. So musical, like such a fucking ripping singer, dude. Like, some of his vocal ideas are really cool.
Yeah.
His records are cool, man. But they just played a giant festival. I believe it was Cali Roots Fest. They posted pictures. I mean, they were just playing to an endless field of people.
Oh,
so he's out there killing it again. And his brother was really cool, Filiano, the Doobie Raider.
Absolutely.
Remember the Doobie Raider?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still hear from him here and there, and he's doing great. So it's just good to see him out there. I mean, he's part of like this alumni of guests that we have that, like, it's so cool to meet them and talk to them about their experiences, and then to just, you keep watching them kill it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're like, wow, fuck yeah, man, that guy rules. It's just like, I got to talk to him or whatever. It's just,
and the kindness, them bringing us stuff. It's like, wait a minute, we
bro.
want you on our show, and you're bringing us stuff?
Yeah. They gave us all the stickers. I still got those stickers on a bunch of my stuff.
And shout out to Ken Seaton, their manager, who came out too. And
Yeah, that was the
make it
first
happen.
time. So don't expect to see Filiato on this episode. This one was the one I programmed about Japan, but we'll get that first one out again because it was really good. I watched that one again quite recently, and I really liked it. What I like about Opie so much is that he's obviously seen a lot of shit. He's obviously tough as shit, but not afraid to be vulnerable in a lot of different ways. Like he'll be honest. Yeah. He doesn't give a fuck really. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He's an artist.
Yeah,
Straight up.
He really is an artist.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, doesn't give a fuck.
I just got goosebumps. And that's a good sign. I think that we're getting some good content here, guys.
Oh yeah.
It's the second goosebumps in these recap sessions.
I once had a guy in Germany trying to tell me he had goosebumps, and he walked up to me and he goes, "I have chicken pox from this blah 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 or whatever." And I just remember fucking trying so hard not to die in front of him, and it's goosebumps, you know. And I had another guy who say chicken skin. I have chicken skin from this.
That's a bit more accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny. I don't know why I thought of that when he said goosebumps, but it popped in my mind.
Probably the weed.
It must be the weed, man.
Weed, bro. Weed.
Weed, bro. Weed.
Yeah, and that was awesome. And hopefully we can have Opie on a number of
We
times.
have to have Opie on.
Well,
He
like,
needs to just be a
any
regular
opportunity-
guest.
Yeah,
You know?
co-host from time to time. That would be
Yeah,
good.
man.
Sure.
Dude, Opie's the shit.
Like a definite friend of the show, and we're so
Maybe
fortunate.
we'll make that weird idea happen.
Yeah, I need to go get tattooed from him when we're down there too.
Yeah, I
Well,
would love
that'd
that
be
too.
rad.
Yeah,
Dude,
that would be
we
very
could
cool.
all get matching little like dolphins on our bellies.
Buddy
together.
tats, I love that.
Or we could all get tramp stamps together.
I have one
He's
already.
got one.
Yeah,
God damn it.
but like I get the 3 dolphins like
Yeah,
going around my
exactly,
belly
but-
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably get something more in tune with what he does. But
Can I can I still get
I'm gonna go fly down to LA, get Opie Ortiz to tattoo me, and get something that's.
Yeah, what if I got him to give me a tramp stamp, dude? That's a great.
Would you get one of his sons?
You know, actually, I made a bet many years ago on tour. I even forget what the bet was over, but me and Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio, who's now the singer of Blink, he which is so fucking dope. Oh, dude, but we made a bet to get we made a bet together on tour. I don't remember. I was on a lot of drugs and drunk, but we both lost, and we both had to hold each other to it, like that we were going to get PT Cruiser tramp stamps. And we both like agreed to like kind of not hold each other to it later on. Like we saw each other after a while, like, oh dude, did you get yours?
So you and Matt Skiba are at Bet Welchers.
Yeah, we are, but like, cause I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get a PT Cruiser tramp stamp. We're doing this.
I hope
and then we both let each other off the hook.
That's how you should.
That's a great band name, by the way. PT Cruiser Tramp Stamp. That's a great band name.
Would you put tribal around the outside of it? Like
around the outside.
Yeah.
Around the outside.
Do you think Opie would do like some like kind of broken angel wings on my back? You know what I mean?
F
would
would
be
get the
cool.
broken angel wings, but he has a Sepultura tattoo that I found out about today.
Yeah, my back tattoo is a Sepultura tattoo. Dude, I'm a fucking super nerd.
Let's talk about Sepultura when we have them on the show. We'll stick on Opie.
Which we should get Derek on the show.
That would be
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. But
Shout out Derek and Sepultura. Sepultura, I love you.
so it was awesome having Opie Ortiz on our show.
Yeah, it was.
Your friend.
Yeah, he is my friend. He's the best. He understands that I
know
like
he gets-
Sepultura.
Yeah.
He always says it that way. I've been saying it wrong my whole life.
Yeah. Hey.
How do you say it?
Sepultura.
Sepultura, dude.
Now, how do you say it?
Sepultura.
Sepultura?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
a tomb.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like actually a Spanish word.
Well, Portuguese, I guess. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, check out the Long Beach Dub All-Stars.
Yeah, here we go on another tangent, dude. Like, you know what else is sick, man? Pizza. Like
Opie Ortiz is sick. Sepultura is sick.
Pizza rules, dude. Like I will kind of you like Bubs.
Cheese is good.
Sick.
Anyway, it was awesome.
Opie likes pizza.
Can I wrap this fucking show up?
I bet you he loves pizza.
What's that?
I want to know what Opie thinks about pizza.
Text him and find out if he
Text
likes
Opie,
pizza.
I guess.
Okay,
Let's
I'll
go.
hit him up. God, might take a while for him to answer though.
Well, we'll have to
We'll have to do a recap on this pizza. We'll cover the pizza thing with Opie when we have him back on the show.
Next show. It's gonna go
Pizza
how you
episode.
got into weed, your family life with your brother Filiano, first show.
Yeah.
Your relationship with Bradley Nowell, first show.
Yeah.
Second show.
Your harrowing experience.
Your harrowing experience in a Japanese prison for getting busted with weed.
Oh, yeah.
And your third one, we're just going to ask him what his favorite kind of pizza is.
Sick,
and
bro. What do you put on your pizza?
If you'd like to go to a Sepultura show sometime.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel how he feels about Air Bud.
And how he feels about Air Bud.
Dude.
Okay.
I think we all know how he feels about
Okay,
Air Bud.
shut up. Oh, man.
Can we get Air Bud on? We were talking about that earlier. Like, whatever the latest Air Bud is, let's get him on.
Air Buddies.
Let's get him on.
That's the name of the show.
Okay.
Hey, write in if you want us to get them on the show at airbudfans@gmail.com.
There you go. I hope you enjoy the best of ITW with Opie Ortiz. This is one of the craziest episodes we've ever had.
It really is fucked up, dude.
It's fucking wild.
Wild as shit.
It is totally wild. It's but thanks, and we can't wait to see him again.
Love
And
you,
anytime to
Opie.
collaborate with Opie, that would be just a fucking treasure.
Absolutely.
Check it out. Yeah, we're here with our friend Opie Ortiz of Long Beach Dub Allstars, tattoo artist, graffiti artist, Sublime crew. Needs no introduction, and he's also been on the show once before. So if you want to know how Opie got into the weeds, go listen to his last episode with us. We're going to talk about something different. He was recently
very serious,
busted in Japan for weed, right?
Yeah, incarcerated. I was stopped on the street. I'll tell you like the whole. I'll start at the very beginning. Give you like a real quick rundown.
Okay.
We fly there. Dub Allstars. We play one show. And it was me, another friend, Tomoyan, because I had like the band had like I don't know what happened. We were partying. The band had like went to a restaurant, and I went to some bar that was right down the street. So I was just gonna link up with them later. And it was me, Permanent Mark. We went to this other bar, and we did a shot of tequila. The show went great. We played good, and the Japanese crowds are always so. Ecstatic and just glad to be there, So we're at this bar afterwards, and we did a shot of tequila, and we drank a Corona. I think we were mingling with some other tattoo artists, and we walk outside, and within like 10 steps, like there's like a cop right there looking at me, like smiling, like super smiling, And I don't know if I can't remember if I was smiling. Or whatever. It was just a very weird moment, but from that point on, it felt like time stopped. And they were like, "Oh, could we search you?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like I've never been searched there before. Never been like.
How many times have you been to Japan?
Like that time would make my 8th time since like 2000. So I've never been like searched. Like I know it's extensive. Like when you go in there, like they're like anti-weed and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it safe, for that long, So.
Yeah.
I think this time I kind of like, I had some on me, and then when they said search, I was just thinking, oh yeah, here's my passport. And then they were like, no, we need to search your bag. So I think from what I heard, my friend who's Japanese was saying that there might have been a undercover inside the bar we were partying at. So maybe someone tipped him off or something because it was too weird. Right when I walked outside, the cop, 10 steps, and the cop was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?"
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
And for people that don't know how severe the punishment is for weed in Japan, I mean, you would know better than us. But it's very severe.
Yeah, it's no joke. So I had like about an 1/8 in my backpack.
Yeah.
And it was stashed. It was in a potato chip container and everything. And they found it. Like, I guess you could smell it. It was pretty sealed up, and they found it, and then it was like the whole trip started right then, because I was like on a euphoric. You know, when you're there, you're like, it's kind of euphoric. You're like there playing for these people, and it's a very like honor, you know, and to be there. And we were playing new music and stuff, so it was like a huge deal. And then for that slip up to happen, you know, like, just got too comfortable, I think. And they searched me down, and then they found that, and it was like, you're going to jail, you know, like. And then there was no like hope. Even like when I got a lawyer, there was no like, they were even like, he was even like, oh, maybe 3 to 6 months, you know, like for like foreigners, you know, that get caught in that situation. So I'm just thinking, damn, like, I fucked everything up, you know, like the European tour had to come to a stop. The Japanese tour luckily kept going because there's like 3 singers, you know what I mean? They can pull it off. But they were going to get this other singer from another band to fill in for Europe and shit.
Wow. How was the reaction from the fans? Like, was it big news there?
A lot of the Japanese know, like, they just think their laws are really, they hate them, you know what I mean? It's just like, if you get busted more than once with weed, you're looking at some serious time. If you get busted once with weed there, I think if you live there, it's like, like a year to 5
I've heard something, like, I've heard more commonly 3, but I was there a long time ago, and for some reason I have it in my head that's 7. I should have done some research into it.
Yeah,
I think it's 1 to 5 years. It depends on the amount and, you know, the situation, I believe. I denied it the whole time. I said it wasn't mine, and someone mistook my backpack, and I was at the show for 11 hours. My backpack was there at the show for 11 hours. So I was just like, and then luckily my friend PM had video of the whole night. So in the video, you can see a bunch of people going backstage, right? And my backpack sitting right there in the video. So it was kind of like,
no way.
Then the prosecutor was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to prosecute this case. So then I kind of got a glimmer of hope, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he doesn't know. Like, I was like, oh shit. So they give you 10 days, and then they give you another 10 days when they're investigating the case or whatever. And they're very like, it's very serious when you're getting interrogated and stuff. They ask you the same questions over and over.
So tell us take us from the top, like, you got caught with it, and then what happens? You cuff on you, you get right, like, thrown in the back of the car?
Yeah, they throw you in a car, and then you go straight to the I went straight to Shibuya local station. So it's just like a normal jail, like a local city jail. So it's just like holding cells with...
Were you in there by yourself, or...?
No, there was like 4 other... There was 3 other dudes in there. Like, the cell holds like 4 dudes. So you're just in there, like... And they're like, no English. You speak Japanese now. Your number's now... you're now a number. What was my number? Ninja Hashiban 28. And I'm vegetarian, so... I know, like, once you get into some kind of, you know, function like that, like, the food's gonna be fucking shitty. So it was even worse that I told them I was vegetarian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just pumpkin and spinach and rice.
That's it.
And, like, a little bit of radish. They have, like, radish. That was, like, the only thing. And maybe seafood or seaweed. Yeah. So it's like, after a while, though, my homies put some money on my books, and then I got to buy lunch, and I was buying, like, fish bento boxes and shit like that. So that's crazy, only lunch. Bro. Like, yeah, it was pretty weird. Like, if you've ever been incarcerated before, you know how to just fall in line and shit like that. Like, but it's another thing how it's in a whole nother country, and you're like, the language thing is like, I thank God in my cell there was a guy who went to school in San Francisco. He's an architect. He builds houses and shit. And he was an artist also, but he spoke very fluent English. So I was like, me and him were chopping it up. And the guards busted us a couple times, and they were like, don't speak about Japanese culture don't ask him about Japanese culture or anything like that.
Whoa.
Trippy.
Yeah, so they're just like, they hate us, you know, the guards. I think some of the guards, we called them the Gestapo. There was just one unit. They were pretty gnarly. They just yelled. That's all they did all day, fucking yell.
Insane.
It's like, you think of those old samurai movies, like if you close your eyes, that's all I was envisioning, you know. You know, they're just screaming and yelling, and you're just like, what the
And you have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah, it sounds like they're killing somebody, but they're just like reprimanding someone in Japanese, you know.
That must be so stressful, dude. Like,
yeah, it was real stressful. And then like the no hope thing, like not knowing what's going to happen, you know what I mean? Like,
did you have any communication with your family or anything?
Yeah, I got a lawyer because my promoter, he helped out in the band, so I had a lawyer, and I would write letters, and then he would send them to my wife. Wow. Yeah, so there's no communication. They try to put you in this like deprivation tank kind of thing, you know, like where you just don't know what's happening.
And you had no idea how long you would be in there.
Yeah.
Because we all thought you were going to be in there for years or something. When I talked to Ken, I was like,
when they first said it was
you
like,
know what I mean?
they first said it was like something like 10 grams though.
Oh, really?
And I was just thinking, I was like trying to figure it out, like talking to the guy that was in my cell, and he was asking me about the situation and stuff like that. And he kept trying to tell me like to just admit it, that it was mine.
What?
And I was just like going, I don't see
No
I don't
way.
see that happening. Like,
no way.
Yeah, I'm riding this till the end, you know, like I just was like, I don't know whose that is. And then, but in the end, when they were interrogating me and they had pictures of it and everything, it was like they were like telling me to acknowledge that it was cannabis in the bag and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
I don't know whose that is or whatever, but
that's insane.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy. And then like after a while, you start to like there's no like exercise room or nothing. They give you like a little time to go outside, but it's just like this little tiny cement thing, you know, and you just have to exercise inside in the cell and just kind of stay positive. Try to just keep your head out of like the it's like the silent kind of like all you hear is screaming and then a lot of silence. People are just reading books, you know. Yeah, it was like a mind fuck.
There's nothing you could read, right? You know.
No, they had a couple English books. I read all those, and then finally, I hit up the consulate. The consulate sent some books. I read all those. They were garbage.
Right.
Like Hunger Games and fucking. What was the other one?
Were you dealing much with the U.S. Like, how did all that go down?
They give you an option to like. They'll let everybody know, but I just denied. I just said I don't want nobody. I just said just my family. Like they said they'll contact the press and everybody, but they were instantly saying, the lady was like instantly like, are they treating you okay? Like, what's going on? Have you been eating? She was instantly like carrying to my
on your side.
Yeah.
Did being
that must have felt good.
But then she was like, I'm aware of your charges and you have to be, you know, prepared.
Yeah.
That's what they kept saying, like, be prepared for like.
Was that again?
Be prepared for, you know, they work on honor, and if you know, disrupt their system, you know, you're gonna, you know. So I was just like, that didn't help at all, you know.
Yeah.
U.S. consulate was telling me that, and my lawyer was telling me the same thing, like just 3 to 6 months, you know, I've seen this before, and so I'm just like, I'm preparing for the worst in my mind, you know, and I'm like thinking all, you know, shit I got to sell at home to take care of bills and, you know, shit like that. Like that's running through my mind like on a daily, you know.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
Luckily I have like some strong, you know, friends and family that were just like, just hold off and wait. And my wife, she was in her mind. She was like, she had marked it down on the calendar. She was like, he's going to get out on this date. And Ken was like, she was talking to Ken, and Ken was just like, and she's like,
Ken,
no,
your manager. Ken,
yeah. And she's like, no, Ken, he's getting out on this date. And I had written her a letter, and I gave it to her when I got out, and like it says, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get out on this date. It was just like a mind thing, you know, like I think they were just like, okay, you're busted. You're busted, so you're going to have to do, 20 something days till we figure it out. I think I got really lucky that they were super busy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Was this prison really crowded?
It was super crowded, and they're like busting people because the Olympics are coming through, so they want to show like they're cleaning up kind of in a sense. So that's what my friend was saying also, that they could have just done that just to they're proving a point to like all travelers and whatever. I'm not sure. Did
it cause you any problems being heavily tattooed in jail in Japan?
No. They were the older dudes were kind of tripping on all my stuff, and then there were some dudes in there that were heavily blasted too. So
yeah,
but it was Japanese stuff. So
right.
I think they look at American tattoos as like they want to look at them, they want to trip out on them. Yeah, like I was showing them like some of my funnier ones, and they couldn't believe it.
Really?
So you got out because the prosecutor didn't want to because of the bag video. Is that what you're saying? So can you clarify how that all worked?
I think that they were so busy that like when you go to the prosecutor thing, like you're they go and pick up all the people from all these different jails all around. There's like a whole busload of guys that go into the prosecutor, and then the prosecutors are just like, they have to get a translator every time, so that costs money, you know what I mean? And then they got to, so I'm in there, they arrange a translator, I'm in there, they're like asking me everything that happened, and I think they were kind of like, they kind of believed my story, because I was there, I was like, my backpack was there for 11 hours, there's a bunch of people walking in and out, it's a party, it's basically a party,
They couldn't 100%
they couldn't
for
prove
sure.
it.
Yeah, they couldn't really like, so they were like saying, well, we're gonna fingerprint the container. Oh. And then they did my DNA and everything. It was like, it was pretty intense.
And your prints weren't on it?
I imagine my prints would have been on it, but they were so busy, I think, with a bunch of cases.
They probably just said it to sweat you.
Yeah. They were just they tried to get me till the very end. Like the day before I was released, they had me in the, up in the forensics part of the police station, because it's right upstairs from, right from the holding cells. And so I'm up there talking to the guy, and he thinks I'm a fisherman because what did he say? Oh, I did an interview for Low Bite, this Japanese fishing magazine. And he goes, oh, are you a fisherman? And I was like, yeah. And it's not true. Like when I was younger, I was a fisherman, but he was like, oh, because fishermen are good people. So I was just like, okay, this is good. Like the cop thinks I'm a fisherman. So it was kind of weird. And then they were like, just keep questioning me about the same thing, like 4 or 5 times, right? 4 different occasions, 4 different days. They're questioning me about the whole situation, right? And
what were the guys interrogating? What did they look like? What were they? Were they menacing?
No, they're like nerdy looking Japanese guys, Wow. Some of them look gnarly. Like some of the guys would come by and walk by the door, and you could tell these guys were like fit, they were like gnarly. You could tell by their haircuts, kind of, their haircuts kind of tell how menacing they're going to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they were just looking at me like another, dumb foreigner, So then I'll get back to the last day that I was interrogated. So they had everything, right? They had my backpack and everything. They had my phone, right? And so they were like, all right, so, well, can we look on your phone? We want to look at the data.
What?
Yeah, and I was just going like, nah, this isn't. I go, you can't do that. That's like invasion of privacy. Yeah. But I guess they have the right to do that. But you have to give them the right. And so I was just like, oh hell no. So that was like their last plea to like, for any kind of info, and that would have just taken another 10 days. If I would have gave them they probably would have been like, okay, we got another 10 days. So I was just like, oh, hell no. And then the next day they kicked me out.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And you can't return?
They didn't veto my pass. I have to go to the Japanese embassy and ask if there's any kind of hold or any kind of thing on my. It's probably just when you arrive.
Because you didn't get charged.
Yeah, so it got dropped. So
it shouldn't be a problem for you to go back.
Yeah. Plus,
That's
every time
insane.
I was
That's
talking to the
amazing.
prosecutor, I told him I had numerous fans and friends and family there, and he seemed pretty like cool with that. Like he was like, I understand you have fans, and he's all, but you won't be able to finish this tour. He told me that, and then when we were talking, I had my lawyer talk to him about Europe. He was like, I don't know, I don't think so. Like he knew he had that. Easily. Dang. Yeah. Wow. I was more worried about, I love my fans and the guys in the band, but I was more worried about my kids and my wife.
That's what I wanted to ask you was like,
I was like stressing out about like, how was my wife handling it? Because if she starts to get stressed out at the kids, it's just like chain reaction, so you got to be like, trying to tell her to keep her cool, keep calm, and she couldn't do that too because it was the same as what the info that I was getting. That's what the info that she was getting. So my manager and my the higher upper was like, no, it doesn't look good, like there was no good news coming through, until she talked to my good friend Texta, who's like super homie, and he kind of calmed her down and like got her to think of the future. He was like, he made her laugh. He was like, oh, don't stress about it. Everything's gonna be fine. Just think of the story later. And she's just like, what? And that's what I was thinking too. Like, I'm putting that positive energy through my mind. I'm like, this is all gonna be over soon, and I'm gonna be able to laugh or cry about it. You know what I mean? Like, what had happened, or I'm gonna have to pay this lawyer fee. I'm gonna have to apologize to my brothers in the band and my wife, But yeah, it happened, and I got out, and I cried for like a day holding my kids, just because.
Oh, I bet.
It's just putting them through that. My daughter was the funniest because she's like, I knew you were. They're so dumb. I knew you were gonna get out, and I'm just going like, dang, I wish I had her energy when I was in there because I was just like. I just became really like in my mind trying to think like positive as possible, you know what I mean? Like maybe this is going to happen, maybe this is going to happen, And I got to talk to my lawyer after the fact. He came to visit me when I got out. I was at the homie's clothing company, and we were laughing about it, and he was like, he said the same thing. He said like either they got lazy or they were so busy that they didn't have time for it, and they were just like kick him out, and he was like stoked that they didn't mark my visa or my
dude,
because that's a huge thing too. My wife even said that. She said it the other day. She's like, would you go back to Japan? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, you're crazy. But it's just like I think when I was in there, they tried to make me not love Japan. You know what I mean? But they couldn't break that. They couldn't break my love for Japan.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I was just like thinking, dang, I'm in Shibuya. How many times have I been to Shibuya? And I'm like thinking, oh yeah, that big, crazy, shitty city. The huge, shitty city. And I'm like going, oh man, like, yep. So I think I'll stay clear from Shibuya. But
yeah,
there's a lot of good places there, like the game. We've always played the game. I have like so many memories from that spot specifically. Cool. Now I have another one. Yeah.
Wow. I accidentally smuggled. I told you that before. I accidentally smuggled weed into Japan once, and it was even though I got away with it, I went into like a total fucking panic.
Oh yeah,
I would not like.
Yeah.
I would have fucking shattered in fucking Japanese prison, man. Holy fuck.
I remember going to Japan with my band and new members. Whenever we go with new members or fill-ins, I'm just like, if you smell weed, straight up walk the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up, it's not worth it, dude.
Yeah.
God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's astonishing. The laws are still so archaic.
Well, I've been there. We were there one time. We were in Nagasaki, and I was with Eric Dressen. We were tattooing, and we're like casual homies, like we know each other through tattooing and some other homies of ours. And I took a break and I was like, I'm gonna go blaze. You want to go blaze? And he looked at me dead square in my eye, and in my eyes, and was like, don't smoke in Japan. And I was like, why? Like, tell me the story, you know? And he's like, I'll tell you later. But he said he got so high one time, he was like tripping out, you know, like maybe had a panic attack or something like that, you know? And then I've heard other stories of people like tripping out too. I won't name any names, but like punk rock hierarchy.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. But I've always been cool when I've smoked there, you know?
Like, as soon as we got off, I didn't realize how fucking crazy it was. The guy who picked us up, we were on a label called Surf Rock, and the guy who's like our liaison, he like started crushing joints right in the van as soon as we got there. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Then he, like, after we'd smoked all the weed, he's like, starts telling us all this fucking shit. I'm like, dude, maybe you would have told us that, you know, that this is a fucking the scariest place on earth to smoke weed.
Absolutely.
You know, before because you know, you get on, like, I didn't really know, you know. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're avid smokers, they're heads, you know, but it's like you got to take all these preparations, you know, before and after you smoke. You know, you're either like on a rooftop or in a car or something, you know, and they got spray, they got incense, they got everything, you know, to mints, you know, eye drops, you name it, they've got it.
Fuck, the black market must be so fucking hard because they're, you know what I mean? Like the hardest dudes, they don't give a fuck.
It's expensive, yeah.
You know?
How much is like a gram of weed?
Oh, it's up there.
I think it's like Coke prices.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think
Not that I know how much Coke goes for.
3 grams, I think, was like $100 and something bucks.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm totally astonished by this whole story. It's like I'm mind blown by this.
Yeah. One time we were at this homie's house, and we got there, and it was like me and my brother were there on tour with One Big Family Band, and that's our Japanese homies that they just love dub Allstars and Sublime. So we'd go there and play. My brother would do his hip hop thing, and I would go up there and jam some dub All-Star songs and some Sublime songs, and we just rock out. But yeah, they were like we were with them, and we met this homie, this graph head, and he's like, we had like a day off or like before the show, so we were like, he's like, oh, let's go to my pad. So we went to his pad, and we hadn't smoked in like 4 days. So me and my brother got so lit, we smoked like 6 blunts, and my brother sat down in one spot.
Is this the Doobie Raider?
Yeah, the Doobie Raider sat down in one spot, right? And then he was like, I lost my phone.
What?
And I'm like, dude, you haven't moved. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, oh yeah. But he was like, he had like his little recorder, and he had like, my homie has like a graph head, so he has all like these action figures and all this crazy toys in his pad and shit. So my brother's like making all these pictures, and then he's like, oh, I lost my phone. And I'm like, wait a minute, you've been sitting there the whole time. How'd you lose it? And we just started laughing, like, oh, we're fucking 6 blunts deep, like we're our minds were blown right now. And then we had to go to the show, you know. So we were laughing, like when we left his house, it was like nighttime, and we're like walking down the street, and we're just like, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're in Japan. Okay.
What?
Yeah. After sitting in his pad for like, you know, 6, that takes a while to smoke 6 blunts.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I think it was like afternoon, and then it was like nighttime. We went to the, whatever it was, the venue we were playing.
Just getting mashed on a couch all day.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow, dude.
It's, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's remarkable, like how illegal weed is there when there's such like, well, when I was there, which is probably about a decade ago, there's a huge like amphetamine problem. Like people were just doing like that kind of shit like crazy. Like a lot of junkies. I only got to really go to Shibuya, so that's my only real experience with it. But there was a lot of that on the streets we saw.
Oh yeah, like I don't think they smoke it either. They like shoot it up.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're gnarly. When I was in there, like there was some crazy guy. They called him the amphetamine killer or whatever. He killed some young girl.
What?
And that dude, he looked like an old man. And he was like, it's like
this is why you were in.
While I was in there, he was in there, and they were all tripping out. But if you looked at him, he just looked like an old ass man, you know. But he was like famous in the news and shit.
Did you come across any other pretty menacing characters while you were in there?
Yeah, you could tell, you know what I mean? But they were all like, all the people in there were either fighting some kind of like thing like me, like weed or, you know, drug thing. So it's all like, it's the same, you know, as like any other local jail or whatever.
Right.
Like, did they just have you, so you didn't get to leave your cell at all? Like you said, to exercise, or you're just stuck in that one place the whole time?
I think 2 or 3 times a week, you would just walk out to this one little yard thing.
So there's no gen pop or anything like that, like general population. That's what we call it.
No, you could be able to talk to like other people in different cells during that time if the mingling is like, you know what I mean. If they open their cell, you go over there. But certain guards didn't want you talking, so it's basically like no talking. Only Japanese.
That's insane.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So did you pick some Japanese up?
Yeah, just a couple things, but.
What would you say your name? Ninja Band.
Ninja Hashiban. Number
Ninja
28.
Wow.
28. I was learning.
Hopefully that works way into a lyric someday.
Yeah.
I know, dude.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a good tag
Shibuya
name.
Blues.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You got some shit to write about, man.
Yeah, and then like when there was only the only other good like hope that I was getting was when I was getting letters from Marshall, our drummer, and he's pretty positive, so you can't he was like, oh, it's just a bump in the road, don't sweat it. And I was just
Wow.
like, okay, that's a good way to think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I had to take my mindset out and kind of think a little differently, because day after day after day, you're just kind of going, okay, 10 days just went by. The guys just left Japan. They're probably going to be going to Europe, you know what I mean? So I was just dang, every day was getting, I didn't cry once. I didn't break down or anything. I was I stayed pretty just mellow, you know, just trying to think positive. But as soon as I fucking got out and had my wife on FaceTime, I was just Niagara Falls. And I could hear my son talking in the background. I was just whew. She's like, I don't care, just get on a flight now, you know. And then by the time I landed, it was fuck, it was 3 or 4 in the morning. So I just went and woke my kids up. They were all crashed out. I was like,
that's so
they're
awesome.
looking at me what?
What?
I was all crying, just Dad's home. And they're just wow. My son was asking me, my oldest son, he was asking me how it was. And I was just you don't want to know. It's
how old's your oldest?
He's 19. But he said the same thing too. He was I knew you were going to come home. But in my mind, I was just thinking, dang, I was thinking I was asking my other guys hey, will they ship me to another facility? Because I don't, you know, I'd rather go to another spot than chill here. And he's oh yeah, in the other facility they got TV and the food's better and all this shit. I'm damn, what?
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. There was no TV, no music, no.
God.
Yeah.
So it was just dead silence.
Yeah. Some of the guards would play music during lunchtime and dinner time, but it was always weird, classical music. It was weird. Famous video game.
What?
Done classical. Yeah, it was trippy. One time it was Star Wars music.
So random.
I think they were just playing it just to fuck with us or something, you know, the Imperial March in the very beginning, you know.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. But then some of the guards were totally cool. You could just tell in their tone of voice when they were talking to the other guys.
Yeah.
They were just you could tell they were cool dudes.
Are you so you're still going to Europe?
We postponed it till next year, so
I'd imagine you want to take some time off and just be with your family. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, cuz I wasn't about to jump on a plane and go, and the guys just canceled it, so because they were going to have another guy sing, but I think he pussed out or some shit.
Oh, really?
He had he had another band.
Pussed out.
No, I think I didn't. I don't want to say pussed out, but it's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's huge.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous, dude.
Yeah, that's a huge.
But he has another
pussed
band
out.
that's touring right now, so he can't.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, he can't do that.
Yeah.
We're actually going. He's going on the first leg of our summer tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you say who it is or no?
Oh yeah, it's Moyes from Tomorrow's Bad Seeds.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the homie.
Trip out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's the homie.
Wow.
He's got a killer voice too, but I don't know. I think they had asked him, and he was like, "Oh, I have my band touring. You know, I can't do that."
Wow.
Are you guys playing? Are you still playing like locally? Are you gonna do a bunch of like
We're
domestic
just
kind of
waiting
tours?
for tour. 29th we leave on tour. Summer tour.
Because this will happen. This will air before you're in Toronto on the 31st of July.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Oh, cool, man.
Oh yeah, it's marked on my calendar. I'm psyched. I'm coming out for sure.
Where's the
Yeah,
show
it's
at?
gonna be fun.
It is at the Danforth, or is it at Opera House? One of those two. So it's at either one. I think it's the Danforth musical.
Hell yeah.
That's cool. Who are you guys on tour with?
Agrolites, Tomorrow's Bad Seeds, and then on the West Coast or on the East Coast, it's Mike Pinto.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Agrolites, dude. Some of those guys are like the funniest guys ever.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Jesse rules,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Roger and Jesse are like comedians.
it's so awesome, dude.
Yeah, those are good dudes. Also, the drummer's super cool, and the bass player's super cool.
Oh, Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Refredo.
I like the guitarist, Ricky. He's cool too.
That's
We've all
awesome.
hung out and chill and shit. My lady really likes him. I like going seeing him live too.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, they're just so tight and good live. You're just like, dang, we got to play better.
They approach it really punk rock,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It is kind of like a foot stomping kind of makes you want to get out there and dance.
It's
thing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Motown and the soul and the reggae, like they do it all. It's just good
Absolutely.
fucking music.
I
right?
love it.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah,
It
sing-alongs
reminds me
all
of
night.
when we were on Warped Tour and Flog and Molly was playing a lot, and I was hanging out with John Bloodclot, and we were somewhere, and he's like, "What are you guys gonna do?" And we were like, "Oh, we're gonna go see Flog and Molly," and I was like, "Come on with us," and then he's like, "I got to get my wife," and then he was like, "What kind of music is it?" And then I was explaining it to him, and then he was like, as soon as he was there, him and his wife were dancing all
Going
night.
crazy,
Yeah,
huh?
it was like
That's
having
awesome.
a great time. Yeah, so it's always good to have friends around. When
Dancing around to Irish music with a
yeah,
crow mag.
Yeah,
It's not a bad time, dude.
yeah.
Your life is rad.
He gave me like a tour of New York. We were walking around eating falafels and shit one time, and he was like showing me where all the punk rock shit started and shit like that.
That's cool.
And then like a little bit after that, he was on like some MTV commercial and I was just like, whoa, I was just like talking to him about some shit
Random.
like that. Yeah.
I have one of his books. John Joseph is amazing.
Yeah, he's a character. Yeah. Whenever I met him we had some tour, dude, through when we were on DreamWorks. We had tour support. We had this guy Mike, some older dude, and he was like our tour. I don't know what tour manager or something. Whenever we got to the East Coast, so he was like, "You know, Blood Clot," and I was just going, "Excuse me, like, are you talking about the Blood Clot?"
Yeah.
He's like, "He's my friend, you know, he's gonna come by," and that's how I met him. And
So a
then-
while ago.
that he had fucking stuck in my head, concreted in my head, like years ago. And then Cameron Webb was like, well, you got to finish the song, you know, like it's just there, you got to finish it, you know, you can do it, come on, you know, like one day, you know. And so I was on the way driving to the studio, listening to the track, right? And I just said the chorus thing that my brother had made up, right? And it fit perfectly. And then I walked in the studio, and then I was like, oh, I have this idea. And then I spit it to the guys, and the guys were like, go in the box. And then we did this weird thing where we wrote the end of the song, and then we did the chorus, and then I came in and wrote the verses, and then it was over.
Wow.
Like I never
That's
like,
fast.
never really worked like one day.
It's rad.
And then they came in and did like the overdub, like the harmonies on the whatever later.
Sounds like it might be a hit.
I know.
Those songs that come together that fast.
It was weird because
yeah.
we were playing it for somebody. It was Tippa Lee. He was on one of the tracks, and he was listening to it, and he told us this crazy ass thing. He's like, he was saying these prolific songs, and we're like, yeah, and he's like, that's the last track that was the last recording they did. That's the last song they did on that album. He's always the last track is the banger.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, well, yeah, maybe that pertains to something. And he's like, no. And he kept going on to say, this one, it was usually like Rasta Jamaican artist, you know, but he was
Pretty
telling
on
me,
point.
telling me some, like, it was prolific shit, right? And he's like, and he didn't know. He said, that's the last track. And we're like, yeah. He's like, oh, he's a banger. So I was just like going, oh, that's kind of trippy.
That's cool.
Not to big up our shit, but it did kind of come together kind of strangely, like salad style kind of, you know. But it's solid song, so I'm pretty stoked on it.
Wow.
And it has a positive message.
Right.
A lot of the songs are trying to, I don't know, trying to be a little more positive edged and saying like war stories or something, you know what I mean? Opposed to war stories or getting loose, stuff like that. Well, one of the songs talks about pour another beer and have another shot.
But I'm sure that the frequency of when you get to pour another beer and have another shot is probably just more apt to, you know, growing up with the fucking band.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's like exactly what it is about.
Yeah.
I think I say that. Pour another shot, have another beer.
That is funny.
Yeah, that's the chorus.
All right, man. Well, we won't hold you any longer. Thank you so much for telling us how you got out of jail for getting into jail for weed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This episode was presented by Pot Guide and WikiLeaf. Please follow ITW on Twitter and Instagram at GetIntoTheWeeds. You can follow Ben Rispin at Ben Rispin. You can follow Ephraim Martinez Schulz at FByStereo. And me, Bubba Nicholson at Bubba Nicholson. ITW's theme music was written by Jacob Bergsma of My Son the Hurricane. Visit them at www.msthofficial.com. Special thanks to our friends at Puff Digital, Program Skate and Sound, and the Slide Bar in Fullerton, Orange County. Sound engineering provided by Roman Marconi at Halo Studios Hamilton. ITW was created by Ben Rispin and is produced by Master Volume.